So my name is Joaquim, and I'm here with Oleg. Like was said, we work at Microsoft, and I'm here to present ClickOps and GitOps. So let's see. So ClickOps and GitOps, like I feel like everybody here actually knows more about GitOps than I do, and that means that they probably know more about the problems of ClickOps than I do. But just for the sake of completeness, let me just quickly go through this. So ClickOps are a problem, right? I just highlight 3 of them here. It's not just these 3, but besides you're looking at very complicated UIs. Every time you do something in the UI, there is a lack of traceability, right? You cannot really say when you arrive at the whatever, like the program or something, you cannot really say, okay, somebody has been here and has done these steps and they did all this, right? Usually it's like somebody did something and this is the result. We don't know how they got there. We cannot roll back. So that means that there is an increased risk of errors. Testing and validation also usually doesn't work. You click something, it works or not, but that's not really testing and that's not really validation, right? So, and this one for sure you know much more than we do, but that's why GitOps matters, right? And it gives us a centralized state that we want to represent and that the cluster will honor, hopefully. And there is traceability. There's consistency, hopefully, and you can roll back, right? So yeah, but there are also challenges with GitOps, and I hope that you agree, right? So if you're a novice developer, you go and there is a somewhat steep learning curve, right? You need to understand exactly not just how the tool that will actually consume the configuration work, but you need to understand many things of how things relate to each other. You have to, of course, know something about Git, which is something that many times when we're experienced in it, we kind of overlook that for new users, I believe. Visualizing how things are going is also often difficult, and and the real time is another thing. So you push things there, but now you have to somehow understand what it's actually doing. So that means that UIs are good, right? Good UIs are good, so to say. So there are many ways that we can make a UI, so how should we do one? And there are a few options, right? One of the options is from scratch, so you just sit down, you choose your technology, and you start developing a UI. And that's fine, and it's justified, for sure. Because that gives you a specialized focus. So the tool that you're doing most likely is just the thing that you need to represent GitOps in this case. It's independent, and that gives you autonomy. So you're developing. You don't have to really develop on top of a solution that already exists. Of course, you're going to use some framework and stuff like that, but still, you're in control. And that means that you have, hopefully, all the customization options that you need. Right? But there is also a problem with this approach, right? I'm saying that it's good to have this. Of course, it's justified. It's natural. But there is also a problem with that. And the problem is that you're creating another tool. And that other tool is another tool that people have to install and to learn. And this brings us to something that I've gave a couple of talks about this at Rejects and stuff. What I call the UI fragmentation across the Kubernetes ecosystem. So if I didn't put that slide here in the interest of time, but there is this, what time is it? Just, I don't want to get myself too long, but yeah. So there's this thing about the Kubernetes ecosystem that if you look at the slide, the typical slide from KubeCon that everybody puts every year, it's comprehensive. Yeah, so that means you got lots and lots of tools for doing many different things, and you got lots and lots of tools for doing the same thing, sort of, right? So that means that the learning curve, again, for novice users is even steeper. And there is context switching. So now you're maybe using a very nice CLI, and then you have to switch to a less nice CLI, and then there's something that is graphical, so you jump there, but that stuff is web, and then now you have a desktop application, so it's like this back and forth. So that's the context switching, and it's the inconsistency, because if it's different applications, the arguments in the CLI for sure will be different. The UI will be also completely different, most likely. Yeah, and that brings us to Headlamp. So what is Headlamp? So how many people maybe now you know what is Headlamp if you are in the talk. But how many people did not know about Headlamp before last week? I guess. Okay, a couple. Hopefully, it's not as many people as it used to be, but so Headlamp is a modern and user-friendly UI. That's at least what we try. We got a little video going on there. It's available as a desktop application and as a web application as well. It's multi-cluster, so if you have one, it's fine. If you have more than one, it's also fine. There's something we call the adaptive UI. So many people, or one of the first questions we get about Headlamp is, how do you deploy it? Do you need an account? Like, do you have to deploy it with a certain service account or something? And the reality is that the UI adapts to the role that the user has. So you have your user. When the user goes in and checks the pod details, if the user cannot modify the pod itself, then they don't see the edit button, right? There is a view button. If they cannot delete the pod, they don't see the delete button. The delete button is not there. So it kind of makes it read-only when it needs to be. And if you're in an environment where suddenly you ask for an escalation of privileges, and now you have admin, then it's live. So when you enter the pod, it shows it for you that now you have the admin capabilities, right? Yeah. So, and another big thing is that extensible through plugins. We're gonna just mention that, and and just this year we moved the project under the SIG UI, so it's now officially part of the Kubernetes project. And it's open source and it's nice and it's all that. So about plugins. So I said that Headlamp is extensible, and that's kind of it's kind of a main thing in it, right? That's one of the reasons why we created the project, and you can extend it through plugins. The plugins allow modifying many parts of the UI. If you want to create a plugin or update a plugin and stuff like that, there is one command. You don't have to do 1,000 things. We try to keep it modular in that sense. And it's most of the plugins are about the UI, but we also have capabilities beyond that. It's not a UI library, right? It's not a new way to write buttons. It's a way to write UIs related to Kubernetes, right? So you have basically many things that make it easy to get, for example, the list of pods, or get the list of pods in this namespace, or stuff like that. And then you can assemble the UI as you want. So there are two ways that you can install plugins. One is via the desktop. We have, one in the desktop, it's via the plugin catalog. So there's a nice little app store sort of thing that you can just go, select the plugin, click install. It's a one-click experience. And then there's the web. In the web, the approach is different. So you're deploying Headlamp to your users. Then you, as the admin or the operator, you're the one that should know what plugins should be present, right? You don't want people to go and now start using plugins all over that you don't know what they do. So in that case, the experience of deploying with the plugins is different. And that means that, okay, so now you have a completely different environment, desktop versus web. Some plugins do not really work on the web. They're not intended for that. They need something, like, for example, if they run a local command, they should be desktop only. Others are, I don't think we have like plugins that only work on the web, but you can definitely do that. We have mechanisms to understand, okay, am I running in a desktop environment or in a web environment, right? And that's what we do in many plugins. Okay, and that brings us to the Flux UI. So the Flux UI is a plugin, and the idea here is that it gives you a clear understanding of the state of Flux in the cluster, and also an overview of the different resources of Flux. There is controls for quick actions. These quick actions, I put the quick in there because hopefully they are what you expect, like it's quick reconcile or pause, stuff like that. We don't have like super elaborate things that you would otherwise do via Git and via editing files, right? And those quick actions, like I said about Headlamp, if you do not have if your role does not allow you to modify, for example, I don't know, a resource, then the pause button will not be present, right? This is the philosophy we usually try to also export to the plugins. Yeah, and this one works in desktop and web. Yeah, there was a lot of work, but by the team, together with people from the Flux community who were nice to to help us bring the expertise that we don't have in the team about Flux itself. Yeah, so at this moment, there's also stuff that the plugin is not. So it's not a way to install Flux. It just detects Flux, and there is no direct Git changes. Right? It's just API calls, meaning that when I said that you can pause it, you can pause it. If it reconciles, then you got a new state, right? But this is what it is at the moment. So to install it, like I said, on the desktop mode, you just go to the plugin catalog. This is, let me see how it looks in there. And not so bad. So yeah, in the desktop, you go to the Flux plugin, you select the Flux plugin, then there is an install button, and you install it. If it's the web, we do have like a recipe that you can install it with Helm in there. And now I bring it to Oleg, who's going to give you a nice demo that's going to totally work and not fail.
Okay. Is it big enough? So how many of you actually use Headlamp like regularly? So for the rest of you, let me give you just an overview of what a Headlamp is. So it's a Kubernetes dashboard. It has everything you would expect a dashboard to have. So let me go to one of my local clusters. We have all the resources you'd expect, and then some cool features on top of that. Let me show you some workloads. We have all the pods, deployments, all of that good stuff. If we go to the individual item, we have logs, restart, edit. Please don't edit. Use the GitOps. We have a resource map, which I think is a really cool feature. I might be a bit biased because I developed it. But it shows you, in a very user-friendly way, the hierarchy of the resources that you have deployed to your clusters, which can be very useful if you're a beginner. And if we go to the custom resources, we can see that we have some Flux CD custom resources registered. So on these clusters, I do have Flux CD deployed already. And if we go to plugins and see how we can easily install Flux. So when you go to the plugin catalog, we show you all the available plugins. And to install it, you just have to click install. So if we head back to the cluster, what we'll see is that we have a new entry in the sidebar with the Flux. And this is the main part of the Flux UI plugin. You see an overview of all the resources that are related to Flux and their status. And one cool thing is that you also have the status of the Flux itself. So you see all the checks and Flux status, including all the controllers and CRDs. And since this is a plugin of Headlamp, which provides you with all the basics, if we click on the controller, we see the pod that's running that controller, and you can check the logs, and it's integrated quite nicely, leveraging the Headlamp core functionality. Not only this, we also integrate it in other parts of the app. So for example, in the map, we can see that in the Flux system namespace, we have this customization that has all the components deployed. So if you're a beginner, this is extremely valuable to be able to understand how Flux works. And I think understandability is a very important part that Flux UI plugin solves. So for the actual demo, I tried to come up with the simplest demo that I could. I have a Git repository with a uncommitted Grafana Helm release. So all this will do is just add Grafana to the cluster. So let me commit that with the best practices for the messages. Now let's go back to the Flux UI. We can go to the sources and go to the repository. Here we can see when the next reconciliation is going to happen. If we don't want to wait for it, we can just click do it now. This is very convenient when you're tinkering or like prototyping, so you don't have to actually wait for anything. And if we go to the Helm Releases, it worked. We see Grafana being reconciled. And if we also go to the map, we can also see that in a different way. You can see the repository, the release, the deployment, replica set, all the pods, and how they're connected. And when you click on it, you see all the details that you would want to see. And here, this is also enriched by the Flux UI plugin. So you have all the dedicated actions related to the Flux. So yeah, that's Flux UI plugin. Please give it a try.
Thank you, Oleg. Where's the presentation? So yeah, I think it's the first time that Oleg gives a presentation like this, and the first time, I guess, a demo. So, and it worked pretty cool. So, this was not planned, me saying this, so I probably embarrassed my colleague here, but you know, it is what it is. So 2 minutes, we got 2 minutes. Let me just quickly say, so ideas for the future. Bootstrap, I would really like that when you install the plugin and you don't have Flux, like I said, it's not installing Flux really, but I would really like that it would give the option, especially on desktop, that you could bootstrap Flux, so it would be like, okay, you want Flux, just install this plugin. Now you have it. Now you can start with it, right? Whereas right now you have to have it already installed. Connect to GitHub. So this is something that people actually told us in other KubeCons before, that they would like to actually connect to GitHub or any other Git provider, obviously, to do stuff there. In this case, it's like we have to be very careful, right? So not to go back to the whole ClickOps thing, but I think for some things, like when you pause, maybe it could be like, okay, permanently pause and stuff like that. That would just create a commit. Is that a good idea? I don't know. Like you can tell us. Yeah, the MCP integration. So we have an AI assistant that you can bring your own LLM and run with it, and we're adding MCP integration. So one of our colleagues has been using the Flux MCP while developing that. So we're seeing, how to integrate that. So if you have ideas in there, that's something that.
Flux MCP now have the ability to install Flux.
Okay, there you go. There you go. But you know, we don't have much time. But actually, we thought, okay, let's bring a demo with AI. That's going to blow everybody's mind and stuff like that. However, I think when we were preparing for this, or at least a while ago, in order to decide about the demo, this was not part of it. So this is what I was told. Anyway, so we're out of time. So it's like, if you want to get involved, we got the plugin repo right there. You can also join the Headlamp Slack to ask questions. You know, we sometimes take a little while to review PRs and stuff like that, like everybody else, but we promise to reply on Slack. And we got the Headlamp webpage. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got 4 minutes for questions. Oh, that far? Can I try? Lee, are you a good catcher? Thanks, man.
And to Victor.
Do you plan to do a VS Code plugin?
A VS Code plugin. I would say no, because even though we're like working for Microsoft and our team does Headlamp, we have other teams that work on VS Code. it's something that I'm surprised if nobody's working already on that. So we're not like bringing you stuff from Microsoft, right? We're bringing you stuff for Headlamp. In this case, if somebody's working on that and want to be like, okay, let's have a consistent UI, maybe that makes sense with Headlamp. I mean, like between Headlamp and the VS hypothetical plugin for VS Code. But no, we're not planning on that.
I'm very curious, actually, if does anyone else have a question they want to ask? Okay. I'm curious, with the MCP server integration that you mentioned, I have a similar line of thought where a lot of times when I'm working in a control repo with different environments and patches, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is between things or where something came from, what recently changed, and then okay, it's this state and changed locally in the Git repo, and then also it's like some other state in the cluster here versus here. And this is fundamentally not just about like the state of the runtime of the cluster, but also compared to what the desired state is. I'm curious if the MCP server that you're writing has like nice interplay to talk about files in the desired state, like the files in the repo, their names, the structure, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So just to clarify, we're not writing an MCP server, right? What I said is that we're trying to make sure that we have a nice UI and not just a simple chat integration, but like a nice integration also between the AI system that we have and the plugins and the support for MCP. So MCP, when I said MCP, we're thinking of using the one that I think Stefan works on. What you said, I think it would be a case for, okay, so how can we leverage the plugins in Headlamp? And maybe when you ask a question about Flux, and then it runs the MCP tool, that part is already running. It's not really published yet. Well, it's actually in a branch, but it's not really merged yet. That part is running. It runs the tools. But what I would really like to do is that if you have also the Flux Headlamp plugin, and the result of the tool is something that the plugin can help with, providing you a visual way, then the plugin should be able to do that for you instead of the vanilla chat interface. And maybe that's the case of what you're saying. Maybe the LLM says, okay, here you have the local of changes, and you have the server like this, and maybe that's all text, but maybe the plugin could actually put that in a nice view where you can actually compare via a diff or something like that, right? But yeah, I don't know if this answers your question.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, all right. Hi. So I think I missed this when you were showing the resource map on the UI, but maybe it was present. If you have a customization that's, let's say, spinning up 5 resources, 5 config maps or whatever, is the UI able to appropriately going to show me how the descendant relationship works when there's no owner reference on this config map that says it's coming from this customization? How is it traced appropriately? I'm just curious.
So we don't just look at the owner reference. We have various ways to determine relationship between resources. And I'm not fully sure how this works in the Helm UI, Flux UI. Jeez. Yeah.
Me too.
But
The Flux trace.
Okay, all right.
How to manage Flux.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I was curious about, so we're actually already using all of this, but we're also using Flux Operator, and I think it would be nice to be able to visualize some of the extras that Flux Operator brings. Is that sort of on the roadmap, or not yet, or?
I'm not sure if it is, because the thing is that, and that's what I was talking before, like, the idea here is not that we bring stuff for you. Like, here's the stuff that we bring to you. The idea here is like, okay, we've done what we think is a base, and but we're not like Flux experts, right? So stuff like that is essentially like filing an issue, figuring out, okay, are you able to work on that? Are you able to work on that? If you have some support from us, which we totally would like to offer, or is that something that you're expecting us to work on, right? And that's like, you know, we maintain Headlamp, and we maintain a few plugins. Among them is the Flux one. It's sometimes difficult in a small team to kind of you know, make sure that everything is up to date and with new features and stuff. But that's why the community can come, and we're very much welcoming people to also on board into maintaining stuff like this.
Thank you.
Just chiming in here, based off of the code that's already in Headlamp, if somebody wants a fun project to hack on tonight, you could probably get that working for resource sets like this evening, because the inventory structure is similar. So contributions welcome, I'm sure, from the Headlamp team.
Yes, you have somebody, yes, behind you.
I just want to give a bit of praise and kudos for something I didn't see highlighted in the Headlamp presentation. The visibility that gives to events is just spectacular and basically unparalleled. I don't know of another UI that raises the error events to your attention as well as Headlamp does. And that's something that I think is really important for a Kubernetes UI. It's a major challenge as a Flux maintainer. People don't look at events or think to look at events, and Headlamp raises them right to the front. So.
Yeah, thank you. And I wish I was recording you so I could show you to the rest of the team there. we like when people say good stuff. Yeah, you know, but just besides thanking you for the comment, I think that one of the nice things, and this is why I started by saying, okay, should you have a standalone UI? Yeah, for sure. Tools should have that. It's not like we're saying, oh yeah, just don't do that, just do this, because otherwise, like, okay, why this and not just VS Code or anything else? But the thing is, if you're dealing with Kubernetes, probably you're gonna have to jump into viewing the details of a pod. So you have that here. Maybe you want to see how everything relates to each other. So you don't have to create the map view. We already have it. Maybe you need to see the details. We already have it. So maybe sometimes you see something in Flux and you're like, okay, let me check the logs of what's going on, right? And you already have it. So this is the why it makes sense, at least for us, that you have Flux, or you know, this is about Flux, but also other tools that you know, now you have a UI on top of the basic Kubernetes thing, or what we think is the basic Kubernetes UI that most people should use.
Any more? We are at time. Okay?
Thank you.